You started doing profit first in your business, and now that the year is over, what do you do? If you're totally lost right now and you don't know what profit first is, I guess why'd you even click the video? But if you want to get caught up, you can go check out the videos linked in the description. It's going to catch you up on what profit first is and how it works for authors. So for everyone else, what we're going to do in this video is cover the 3 things you need to do now that the year is over to manage your profit first system. Step 1, you're going to take a profit distribution, just like you should be doing at the end of every quarter. We're going to talk about what is a profit distribution, how to calculate the amount, and what do you use it for. So a profit distribution is your reward for the risk you take as the owner of the business. This is not your compensation for the work that you've done in the business. That's something totally separate. Think of this like if you owned Coca-Cola stock and they pay dividends, you would get a dividend, and that's their thank you for letting them use your money. So this is the same thing as that. You're giving yourself a reward for the risk that you've taken as the business owner. How much of a profit distribution should you take? We're going to make this really easy. We're going to take half of whatever was in your profit account at the end of the last quarter, and that's your profit distribution. Not half of what you put into the account during the quarter, but actually half of the remaining balance. By doing half of the remaining balance, as your business grows, that profit distribution is going to continue to grow as well, especially because as your revenue reaches certain levels, we're going to actually increase the amount that's going into the profit account. So if you had $1,000 in the profit account at the end of the year, you're going to take a distribution of $500. Next step, what do you do with it? And this part's really important because it's more about the mindset around your business, around money, than it is about what you actually do with it. You're going to celebrate with this. This is not meant to repair something at your house. This is not meant to go into your regular bills. This is meant to celebrate with. You're going to do something fun with it. Maybe it's a little bit of money and you just get to buy yourself half of a Big Mac. Or maybe it's a lot of money and you get to take like a weekend getaway with your spouse. Either way, whatever it is you do with it should be meaningful, and it should be something that says, we did something big here, and you get rewarded for the work that you've done. Now, quick side note, if you have debt, whether business or personal debt, then we recommend that you take 90% of that profit distribution and use that to make some progress on that debt. And then you're going to take the other 10% of the distribution and do something fun with it. So in our example, if you had $1,000 in the profit account and you took a $500 distribution, you're going to take about $450 of that $500 and put it towards debt. And the other $50 you can go buy a couple of value meals from McDonald's or something. But whatever it is that you do with that $50, still make it meaningful. I've seen stories where some people just buy a box of wine or a cheap bottle of wine and they get on a Zoom call with other business owners and they toast each other and they say, great job. They review their quarter together, and it's meant to just be like a symbolic thing that they're rewarding themselves for the work that they did in their business or for the risk that they took in their business. Okay, so you did your profit distribution. The second thing you should do to close up the year with your profit first system is review your financial year. If you track quarterly financial goals or monthly financial goals, look back at those to see how close or far you were from hitting them. If you didn't really keep notes, that's okay too. Just think about the year. Think about the things that you did that affected your finances. Did you implement profit first during the year? Great. Did you set percentages that you had to change? It's okay. Did you end up having to take money out of one account and use it in a different account because you were short? That's fine too. It all just happened. All we're doing during this process is just noticing what happened and acknowledging it and moving on. This is not a time to judge whether anything was good or bad. We're just trying to get back in the frame of mind of what happened during the year as it relates to our money. Now, something I did this year with just my whole year-end review is I looked at all of my journals and notes and notebooks and planners and calendar events and everything through the year to just go through everything that happened. It took me 2 solid days to do it, but it helped me to like relive the entire year in one quick snapshot and really put me in a good frame of mind to look forward at the new year. And I would encourage you to do something similar with your finances. If you're keeping QuickBooks or you're keeping some sort of bookkeeping software, pull up a P&L, a profit and loss monthly, and just review over what was your revenue each month? What were your expenses each month? Notice anything that stands out to you, whether it was high or low or something changed, and then think about what happened that would cause that to happen. It would help to have your calendar open at the same time and to think about like, when did you go on vacation? When did you launch a new book? When did you go on a reader event or anything like that, to figure out what changed throughout the year to cause those changes. And again, this is not for the purpose of judging whether or not anything was good or bad. This is just for noticing. All we're doing right now is putting our heads in the same mindset as we were all year long, because we lose track of what happened 12 months ago. If you don't have notes and you don't have bookkeeping and you just don't have anything to do with your money, what you could do is you could go to your online banking, pull up all your transactions from the previous year. You might have to download them into a spreadsheet or something, and just kind of scroll through them. They don't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be formatted a certain way. Just scroll through the transactions and just notice things. Just think about what was going on during that time of the year and just let your brain kind of like reabsorb those things. You're going to start subconsciously thinking about everything that happened throughout the year, and you'll have a much better frame of reference whenever you're planning your new year. So now that we have taken our profit distribution and we've reviewed the prior year, it's time to update your percentages and plan for the new year. Remember, every quarter, we update the percentages that we use for our Profit First system. Likely, whenever you first started doing Profit First, you weren't anywhere near the actual target percentages to allocate to the different accounts. And instead of turning everything upside down, we started with small percentages. So for example, maybe you weren't putting anything aside for taxes. Maybe you weren't putting anything aside for profit. Maybe you weren't paying yourself any kind of owner's pay, and 100% of your income was going towards operating expenses. When we first implemented Profit First, you might have said, well, we'll do 1% to profit and 1% to tax and 1% to owner's pay, and we'll do 97% to OPEX. Because if your business can live on 100% of its income, it can probably live on 97% of its income as well. And those 1% moves don't feel life-changing, but we're creating the habit of living on less than your business brings in and the habit of allocating money to different bank accounts. So now that the new quarter has started, we can move further towards our goals. And so you'll move things maybe another 3%. So now, instead of doing 97% into operating expenses, you'll do 94% into operating expenses, and you'll do 2% to profit. You'll do 2% to tax and 2% to owner's pay. And this is just an example. Depending on your goals and your targets and how close you are, you may decide to do more towards profit or more towards owner's pay and less towards tax. Whatever you do, I do recommend that you don't do any more than 3 to 5% change across the board, because if you move too much from one to the other, then you might end up finding throughout the quarter that you have to reverse course. And then that's really like disheartening if you were planning on putting aside, say, 5% for profit and you overshot it, and now you have to move some money from profit into OPEX. It just creates this habit of undoing the plans that you made. And so I'd rather you make slower progress if it means that you can actually meet your goals. It kind of reminds me of whenever I took piano lessons, my piano teacher used to have me practice the song as slow as I could play it and not make any mistakes. So just excruciatingly slow, one note at a time. And if I made any mistakes, I had to slow it down again. And it felt super pointless. But by doing it that way, not making any mistakes, I could speed it up just one notch on the metronome and go just a little bit faster the next time and a little bit faster. And it never felt like I was making any progress. But before I knew it, I was playing it up to speed. If I had tried playing the song up to speed first and made a ton of mistakes, I would have gotten so discouraged I never would have finished learning the stupid thing. So by taking slow steps where it doesn't feel like you're making much progress, you actually get to your goal a lot faster than if you try and do everything all at once and then have to go back and try it again and start back from the beginning. So those are the 3 steps to closing out your Profit First system for the year. You're going to take your profit distribution, you're going to review your prior year, and you're going to update your percentages for the coming year. If you've been trying to do this on your own and you would like some support, in our author community, we have a Profit First support group where we're meeting on a regular basis to look at everyone's Profit First systems and make sure that everything's being implemented so that you're not having to do it by yourself. If you're interested in that, I'm going to put a link in the description, so make sure you check that out, and I will see you next time.